Hi, y'all.
Hi.
How's everyone?
Great, great.
Doing well, doing well. It's been a busy week. How about yourself?
Oh, it's been like super busy. Everything in July, from keeping up with the landscaping to kids camps to what we do as realtors. It's been very busy.
It has been a crazy week, huh?
It's just been a crazy month, I think. It's been a good month. Very good things, but very busy. So, but yeah,
I've been going,
anyways, what's going
what?
on?
Oh, I said I've been going like nonstop for days now, and probably need to like at least take a nap, if not get like a sufficient night's rest. So I just feel like this week's been crazy, but if you're busy, that means, you're doing stuff. So
You're doing
It's
things.
good to be busy.
Sleep's also good though, Kristen. So maybe get some rest.
I don't do that as a general rule anyway, so that one's tough, but I mean, I will try someday. Yeah.
I was gonna say
Ish.
sleep on the weekends, but on the weekends we're doing showings, so I don't know when's a good time to sleep.
Yeah, well, if you saw on Sunday, I had that open house in Apollo Beach, and then as soon as I came back, then this guy was like, "Hey, can you come to Clearwater and tell me how much I can sell my house for?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sure can."
Sure
Absolutely, I'm
can.
coming right now.
So, yeah,
Good
lots of
things
Ride
though.
that wave. I know earlier we're talking about, like, as I like to call it, market nutrition, otherwise known as, I
Mhm.
believe, the absorption rate.
There you go.
I've been learning. It's all thanks to you, Kristen. I really appreciate it.
I don't know about that one, but yeah.
So I think that brings us to one of our talking points. Today I was going to talk about the absorption rate here in Jacksonville, which is really interesting. At one point in time, we were just a month of inventory, so that is the numerical value would be one. Right now we're at a 1.8, so we're at 2, so we're about like 2 months out. So it's kind of interesting to see that homes are sitting a little bit longer than they used to.
You're that high? What are you at, Kendra?
We are at 2.33.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yep.
It's crazy too because our price ranges are they're not going down, but they're decreasing on how like fast they're increasing. So like since January honestly, let's be real, since 2020, things have just been steadily like raising like crazy. But since January, we've consistently seen 4 or 5% increases. And this month, I think the number was 1%. It was like 1.4, I think, was the increase for June. So I'm very curious to see what July's numbers turn into, especially with July kind of being a little bit slower in the busy season. So, Kristen, you're in a busy market as it is, though. So what's going on over there? Are you seeing any changes yet?
Well, I'm on the corner of 3 counties as well, which is kind of cool because I'm on the Pasco Pinellas line. And then Hillsborough, it's kind of funny. People are like, "Oh, so you're right by Tampa." And I'm like, "Well, I'm like, I can get there in like 15, 20 minutes, depending on that." But I mean, Tampa is such a big place that I'm like, what part of Tampa are we talking about? South Tampa, New Tampa, like, so I can get a
I didn't know
like
there's so many Tampas.
there are. There's like lots of, we're like New York with our boroughs, so there's like over by over by me is like the West Chase Town and Country area. Citrus Park's over here. South Tampa's over here. There's downtown Tampa, Channel Side area. Yeah, there's a lot of different parts of Tampa. But yeah, like New Tampa is all the way on the other side. So it's further in like East Coast, not East Coast. It's further east. It's the East Coast of Tampa, I guess. But yeah, it's all the way over
East
there, whereas
Coast.
I'm a mile from the Gulf. So, but yeah, our surrounding, like my area and surrounding, we're more like 1.3 to 1.5 months of inventory. And we're still at like 100, slightly over that for our pricing. So we're still looking at average, of course, because there's some that are, you're going to get slightly below asking price, some still slightly more, some right at asking, but that's, you know, better than 120% average or whatever. So
Is that what you guys
Yeah.
were seeing before?
I don't know the exact numbers, but yeah, it was a lot higher than
I know
it
your
is
market was way busier than ours. I think the highest ours got to was 100% list to sale price. And I think right now we're at 98% list to sale, which is actually about normal going back the last like 4 years, 2018. Yeah, we stay anywhere between 96 to 98 is our normal. So
That's good.
And it's been so odd to see, like, especially in my neighborhood, to see homes that have been sitting now for like a month, like, you know, three weeks plus.
Isn't
I
that wild?
haven't seen that at all. You know, unless it's like being in Jacksonville. So
are you guys seeing a lot more listing signs going up? Because as I'm driving through my neighborhood, I'm just like, oh my gosh, they seem to be everywhere.
yes,
you
I've
seeing-
noticed that too. Especially every weekend, I'm seeing like 3 to 4 listing signs.
Kristen, you're not seeing that?
She's too busy working. Or
Right?
she's you know, are you listening to her?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, quite a few. I notice I'll see some that were like for sale by owner, and then they'll switch.
Yeah.
Because I think that now finally with the market shifting, some of those for sale by owner people are like, how come my house? And it's like, well, because it's overpriced now. Like you can't just name whatever price you want and expect it to sell in 3 days. Like Alex said, sometimes I see things that are on the market for a week or two, and that's more normal. And then sometimes I'm like, 30 days? No way. Where'd this one come from? So yeah,
What's going on there?
they
Yeah.
too exist, you know.
Having to spend more marketing dollars and stuff too. A lot of those FSBOs aren't putting in the work to get their home out there, you know, and then even on like Zillow or realtor.com, there's like a whole certain section for, you know, for sale by owners compared to if you're using a realtor to list. So
Mhm. Yeah.
Speaking of market movement, Kristen, you're gonna kind of give us some education about express offers.
Oh, right. Okay. So I am certified in ExpressOffers, which is an EXP program, which it's like it's a network of buyers, investors. So a property like one that I saw on Sunday, it needs a new roof. There's some maintenance issues like with the AC. It hasn't been fully updated. So like, you know, like the flooring and everything's been replaced. There's no carpeting, things like that, but it's like it could use some paint, that kind of stuff. And so he was telling me how much the owner was telling me how much he would like to net and everything, and isn't exactly sure what the next step is going to be and where he's going to stay after. And I love listing. I like it for like the creative purposes and just like even just like the organizing what order your pictures are going to be in and what you're going to write and all of that kind of stuff. I like the creativity part, even if it's, you know, limited sometimes, but and then the marketing aspect after it. But I was just like, you know what? I'm like, I think that maybe your best route is going to be go the express offers, because I'm like, you're going to need to fix your roof. There's a couple of active leaks in it. And it's already at the 20-year mark.
yeah,
And
you're
then
not getting alone.
yeah. So I'm like, you're probably not going to get what you're looking for. And if you do, you're going to have to offer to replace the roof or split it with them or whatever. I'm like, and even if even if you take that from what you make at the end, that's going to lower what you're getting. And I'm like, and it's going to take longer and stuff. So I'm like, all right. So I'm like, if you agree for me to submit it to express offers, we go in and we look at what they call buy boxes. So each one of the investors, it depends on what they do. Like, do they want to hold the property and rent it? Because that's going to be you know, a specific house is going to be appropriate for that. Like this one likely wouldn't, right? This would be more someone who wants to renovate it and then resell it, right? So you look to see for the characteristics too, like certain ages, certain square feet, you know, some of them have a minimum or maximum amount of like bedrooms and bathrooms, things like that. So you look at their criteria and say, is this appropriate for this investor, that investor, this investor? You see how many of them might be interested in that property. And so I go in and I fill in a certain amount of information in this sheet, and then they expect you to take pictures just like with your phone, you know, your camera phone, whatever. Like most agents did with traditional listings that they put on the MLS recently. So you just go in, you take, you know, a picture of every bedroom, take a picture of, you know, the AC and the roof and whatever, and the yard, and then submit it. And then say there's like 3 or 4 investors who might be interested, you can submit it to each one of them. And then they're supposed to get back to you in like 2 days, but they can take up to 5. And you just get those offers back. You look them over and say, do any of these sound like something that you want to do? And with investors, you know, they're not a family moving into your home. So they're not like, well, we're selling this home and we need to be in yours by this certain date, or, you know what I mean? There's not that sort of coordination. So they'll allow the seller to remain in their home for a certain period of time and things like that. They're more flexible about it. So that's kind of nice as well. But then if you don't,
Kristen, but
yeah,
that's you. So you have to have like kind of a network of investors or people who are interested
I
in
don't.
that. Okay,
EXP has that.
correct.
So
So
in
when
Express
you're
Offers, they have all of those in there. So I don't even have to go searching for them.
got it. So you're just literally submitting this piece of property, and then anyone XYZ is gonna message you, hey, I was looking through these
No,
properties.
I have to search those buy boxes first. So I have to say, you know, out of the 10 investors or whatever who are interested in, like, for example, this is Clearwater, so it's Pinellas County, right?
Mhm.
So I have to say, like, you can search like by Pinellas County, and then I'm going to look for flips, not buy and hold investors, and then it'll narrow it down that way too. And then I just read those buy boxes real quick, see which ones would be interested, and choose them. I'm like, okay, there we go. And I can submit it to those 3 or 4, however many are applicable, to each one of them. And then if they decide that they want to put an offer in, then they have to reply in like that 2 to 5 day window.
So
And so
you're
when I get all of those back, I bring it to the seller.
so you're almost like a wholesaler in essence. Like basically the same exact process that a wholesaler would go through. You're just an agent instead of, you know,
Kind
going
of,
through it
yeah.
on your own. Okay.
But like, I don't have to find these investors. If I have other investors outside of that, I obviously can present it to them as well. But it's just like a quick option for that kind of, like, it doesn't work for everyone, obviously. But if you want to do that, because some people don't have the time or the desire or the funds or anything to fix their house before they put it on the market. It's like, it can be a process. It can be costly. So it's like, if you want to replace your roof beforehand, that's going to be more desirable. It's going to be easier to market and everything, but it's going to come out of your pocket, you know, before you even sell your house. So just that kind of
So it's like,
thing.
it just depends on where you want the money to come from, right? Because if you took the time to fix the roof, you could get higher price for what you're selling it for compared to what these investors are offering.
But if you don't have that money already,
Right.
then what do
Right.
you do? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's got to come from somewhere. And sometimes people have lost their job, or, you know, their income's changed since they bought the house. I mean, there's a lot of people who can't keep up on their home, you know, the
Oh
way
yeah,
that they should,
absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
They've
Definitely need different
they bought
options.
it 10 years ago or whatever, and like things have changed in their life or whatever, gotten a divorce, whatever circumstances happen, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
COVID, hey, that happened too. So it's like, what do you do when you're in that sort of place? And it's just nice to have this. And then the seller gets to look at, you know, these offers, if anyone makes them, and if they have multiple offers to compare, and if they don't like any of them, well, then let's do it the traditional route. Like no harm in checking to see if any of these investors are interested, right?
Right.
All it
Absolutely.
takes me is just filling out a form, a few pictures, making sure there's some interest and, anything applicable to that property, shoot it over to them. In a couple days, you have an offer. Like,
Can you take
Absolutely.
that property and kind of like put it, like market it like on your like Facebook, or is it kind of like a private thing just with express offers?
just through ExpressOffers.
Okay,
Because it's not
interesting.
a live listing or anything like that. It's not a listing. It's just seeing if investors are interested in it. And then, like I said, if they don't take that, then you go through the regular route that we do and do a listing agreement and put it on the MLS and everything like that.
So how do you market to other investors that you might know then, since technically it's not your listing and you're not the owner?
Well, you still have like the compensation commission agreement and everything. So it depends, but that would be a separate thing. But I'm saying if you had your own investors and that was okay with them, then you could do that. But I just submit it through ExpressOffers
Right.
and then see what we want to do after that point. And then go.
Interesting. Yeah,
Different
interesting.
route.
So to me, it's basically wholesaling, but as a licensed agent instead of like actually getting under contract and selling your rights to the contract, you're just putting it out there. You're kind of cutting out that wholesaler.
And then you're still an agent and you're still covering both sides. So, if something is falling apart, if, you know what I mean? Like that's what's kind
Right.
of nice about it as well is, what's going on both sides. Cause as you know, we were talking about this kind of thing a little bit today, like having to work both sides of things sometimes. And the communication, if you depend on another agent on the other side, sometimes, unfortunately, they let us down from time to time. So sometimes you have to jump over them and go directly to the buyer's lender if you're on the listing side or whatever. So yeah, this way I'm handling both sides and I know everything that's going on the whole time.
Right. It's definitely an easier transaction, especially for your seller. So
And they're quick. I mean, they're investors, so they can close in a week or two or whatever.
Yeah, that's good about those cash offers. Well, most of them, I'm guessing, are cash offers.
Yep.
Absolutely. You're waiting on title at that point,
Yep.
I like it. I like it. Thank you for
Yeah.
the information.
It's
You're
weird how
welcome.
we can. Oh, go ahead.
People always ask, they're like, what is that after your name? Whenever I'm on Workplace, and I'm like, those are just like the certifications that I have. So
I always told myself I'm not going to put the certifications after like my name because I just think it can get like ridiculously like long, and I don't like. I don't know. I don't want a really long like name tag thing.
like Kendra, you're in insurance, correct?
Yep.
Do you have designations and stuff like that? Right. So I just had my AU when I was doing insurance, but there are like people who have their AU and their CPCU and their AINS
and all kinds of
I'm like,
craziness.
your designation letters have you have more letters of designations than you do in your real name.
The actual name.
Right. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, calm down. So I understand what you're saying. So
Well, yours is cool though. I like yours. It's short and to the point, and it looks cool. So
thank you. I mean, hopefully it won't get too much longer. Hopefully this is it.
Next, we'll have to talk about your commercial designation, Alex, now that I'm thinking about it, and how that went. And when do you get, like, you're certified, right? Like you passed the test and all of that good stuff?
Yep.
Congratulations.
So
thank you.
my reasoning on Workplace for including all of those things. So location, referrals, obviously it's important to put that. And if you're answering questions, sometimes, in like the Florida group or whatever, people are like, okay, well, what, MLS system are you in or stuff too. And it's like, oh, she's in Tampa too. So she's in Stellar. Okay, cool. But then I put the certifications and everything there too, because if somebody's looking for someone who's ExpressOffers certified, if I'm looking for a commercial agent and I see Alex in Jacksonville, I'm going to be like, okay, cool. He can clearly help me. But if just anyone, if it just says Alex Cruz, then I'm not going to know where you are. And I'm not going to know that you're a commercial realtor. So
You might think I'm
Just
Tom
throwing that-
Cruise. I get it all the time.
did you say Tom Cruise?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cruising.
Cruisy. How did that even get started? Or is that not something we should discuss on the show?
Cruisy. I mean, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong about it. Just that's what Dan, our supreme leader, likes to address me as.
But there's like no story. It's just because. Okay. All right.
I think it's just how if you look at the name, it's like that E. I think you're just emphasizing the E. Maybe I don't know. Like I've had teachers do that to me in high school. I don't know. Dan does it, so
I love it.
I do too. It's
thank you.
fun. So I just looked, and Alex, another good point, why you probably should put the commercial stuff there. If you type in work chat or workplace, which is basically Facebook for those of us that are listening that don't know what it is, it's just Facebook for our group. If you just type in commercial, like all of these folks with like commercial in their name pop up. So it is like Kristen was saying, it's a good idea.
And like, I love that search. Anytime that I have a question and I tell that to like some of the new agents who sign on with us and everything, I'm like, go on and you can narrow it down by the group. So if you're looking like I'm part of the ExpressOffers group or, Tampa Bay group or whatever group. So you go in there and you just type like part of your question. I'm like, you're not going to be the first person who looks this up and is asking the same question. So if you want to know an address or even something simple like that, I'm like, you put that in there and it's going to pop up all the posts that have that relevant information in there. So Kendra's
We're at the
absolutely
1
right.
minute mark.
Are we already?
Yes.
Wow.
So
I
thanks,
talked so
ladies. It
much
was a
this
beautiful
time.
episode. Thanks for explaining ExpressOffers, Kristen. That was really cool. I have to look into that. I never knew about it, but it seems very interesting. So that's cool that EXP offers something like that. Kendra, any final words?
No, I was good getting to know what's going on in our individual markets. And yes, Kristen, thank you so much for the information. And please don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Bye.
Let's start saying that at the beginning of the episode, by the way.
To like and subscribe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. People should just do this.
They don't
Come on.
go all the way to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So if you're here, go ahead.